Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here and welcome to another review. And now we're taking a look at the Sega MegaDrive, or Sega Genesis if you're in North America, version of the classic Psygnosis game Lemmings. And as you can see, this has an animated intro similar to what the Amiga version had if you saw my review of that version. Although this is somewhat slower paced than that of the Amiga version. And there's the title of our game. So, like the Amiga version, it's got that scrolling marquee thing at the bottom there, and there's Psygnosis logo there. So you got password system. So if you wanted to continue from where you left off, what? So even in this Mega Drive version, they've removed the vowels. Geez, they're not Nintendo. Why did that happen? Never mind. And you've got the choice of music on or off, just like you did in the... Quite frankly, why would you just have the sound effects one player? So let's get this going. Oh dear, that... So you can pause. Oh, that's a bit of a pain. You actually to actually switch between without having to manually click on something like that on the skills. Without actually having to manually click, I mean, you can cycle through them like the other version, but you actually have to hold down a button to do it, and while pressing left or right, which isn't ideal. But then the Mega Drive controllers only have 3 buttons, so it's probably forced upon them. But one thing I did notice is that the quality of that Let's Go speech sample was very ropey. Not that you need to, but in this level because they're all out. But oh, I'm not keen on the sound effect when they go in the door. It's not as charming as the boing sound effect that you got in the Amiga version. I mean, it's good you only have to key in 5 characters for a password, but the lack of vowels is pretty stupid, especially as it's not a Nintendo version. Only floaters can survive this. I'm sure they can. They've cocked up the tune. The rhythms aren't right. See, that bit of the melody just then wasn't quite right. Ugh. No, I'm very disappointed with the quality of the sound in this. I mean, those speech samples are incredibly ropey. Oh dear. I think they can fall that far. Well, that sound effect's a bit twee, isn't it? I mean, Lemmings are still as well animated as ever. I mean, it seems to be coping well with that, with over 40 Lemmings on the screen there. Whereas, as you sort of saw, the Super Nintendo version started to struggle to keep up pace with that sort of quantity of on-screen Lemmings. So that's a plus in this version's favour. Oh dear, what kind of a sound effect is that for an explosion? Now use miners and climbers. More like now use a miner and climbers. I have to admit, even though this would have been better being played with a mouse, I'm finding it's a bit more bearable with moving the pointer around on this version. For some reason, it's a bit more responsive. It's a shame that there's precious little in the way of sound when you actually activate a skill on a Lemming. You actually have to look in the bottom left corner to really notice whether or not it's worked. It could have done with a more prominent sound effect for that, because I know there is a sound effect, it's just really hard to hear. You need bashers this time. Oh god, that sound. Let's see how well it copes with. So that's 50 lemmings in the fray, and it's still not slowing down. No, I'm not impressed with the quality of the music in this. In fact, the sound in general is really quite disappointing. 42 Lemmings on the screen and not a hint of slowdown, whereas the Super Nintendo versions did have noticeable slowdown when there are about 35 or more Lemmings on the screen, so that's good. A task for blockers and bombers. Ugh. Oh, it doesn't even say "oh no." It's got the "let's go" but not the "oh no." Mind you, given the quality of that "let's go," maybe that's a blessing in disguise. Oh dear. Yeah, graphics and animation are fine. And the Lemmings are still as visually enchanting as they ever were, and they're still as well animated. And so I can't fault I can't really fault the way the game's visual presentation is done. Oh yeah. Helps if I select the skill, doesn't it? Good. It still has the thing of it. It still has the thing of it turning around when. Oh, the sound effects of those last blocks being laid is really quite embarrassing. Oh dear me. Yeah, so I am disappointed with the quality of the sound. And the fact that there's no "oh no" when a bomber is used, that really is a bit of a letdown. I mean, on an 8-bit machine, I would have understood that because of the limitations of the hardware, but this is a 16-bit machine, so. This is going to be a good test to see how well it copes with lots of lemmings on the screen. Oh, now it's starting to slow down. Oh dear, that really is starting to slow down now. Oh dear, look at that. But luckily, I've noticed that even the time in the bottom right corner is noticeably slowing down with it. Yeah, that timer slowing down is actually of benefit as well, because when you got it keeping strict time, even when there's slow down, it can make a level unfair. So that redeems it a little bit. Thing is, without the decent sound samples, this has lost quite a bit of the charm that made other versions I've played more endearing, especially the Amiga original. The quality of the music sample, the instrument samples in this isn't too bad, but oh, there's a whole section of that tune missing. Oh goodness me, they've truncated this particular tune. I mean, was there a problem with space on the cartridge or something? Because this tune's been quite heavily truncated. God. 5 miles if you love Lemmings. Well, that level's name's been changed. It was originally Smile if you love Lemmings. I'm sure it was. Luckily, you can select skills while pause, which is always a plus. not all out then. Let's go all out. I'm going to... Because they're all out, I don't have to worry about how far down it digs. Pew. Shame that they've got those two sounds in the rhythm of the oh no rather than actual oh no. Maybe there wasn't space for a proper digitized oh no sample the way there was for the Amiga version, for instance. Oh dear, that. Yeah. Right, get the basher ready. Blow you up. Oh god, it's starting to slow down a little bit. It is a little bit slower. As soon as it got past about 70 lemmings on that earlier level, when there were 100 lemmings, it really did noticeably have frame rate issues. So after this level, I think I'm going to wind up the review. If you've seen my other Lemmings reviews, then you pretty much know the drill. So I'm going to wind up the review here. So that's Lemmings for the Sega MegaDrive, or Sega Genesis if you're in North America. It's pretty good, but it does have some things about it which are kind of a shame. Graphics I can't complain about, they're fine. The Lemmings are still as well animated as in the Amiga original, so does noticeably slow down when you get more than about 50 Lemmings, and slows down even more when that goes to about 70 or odd. As you saw on that level, which had 100 Lemmings on it, it really did start to slow down. But at least the timer in the bottom right corner also slowed down with it. It's not like one of those where it kept strict time no matter what. Sound, pretty disappointing. That Let's Go sample just before the initial trapdoor opens is really quite muddy, and it sounds like it's been gargled through water. And the lack of the oh no sample whenever a lemming blows up is a bit of a shame. It's just been replaced with two sort of whistle sound effects in the rhythm of the oh no sample, and many of the reproductions of the tunes that I remember from the Amiga version, some of them have been noticeably truncated, and quite a few of them don't really sound that great due to some rather disappointing instrument samples, which means that they've been shorn of their original bouncy, jaunty nature. And depending on which level you're on, the sound effect that plays when you actually apply a skill to a particular lemming can be very hard to hear. It needs to be more prominent, and the sound effect when a lemming goes through the exit door is not that interesting either. that does take away a lot of the charm of the original. Gameplay. Well, even though it doesn't use a mouse, I actually found this more bearable to play than the Super Nintendo version in terms of control. I found that by and large, I found moving the pointer a bit more reliable in this version than I did in that version. And I would have preferred it if you didn't have to actually hold down a button while pressing left or right in order to actually manually switch to adjacent skills in the skill set at the bottom of the screen. But that may have been forced upon the programmers due to Mega Drive controllers normally only having 3 buttons. I know it later did get 6-button controllers, but it is a bit of a pig if you're trying to do it like that, which you might occasionally have to if you're in a tight spot. But luckily, you can still pause the game and select a skill that way. And yeah, that does make up for that a little bit. It still has same problems of it being hard to pick out a precise lemming when there are lots of them next to each other or wandering around in a clump. That can be a problem for later levels, but that's a common fault with pretty much every version of Lemmings, at least the ones released at the time. So there's also the fact that the Mega Drive version of Lemmings costs more than the Amiga version upon initial release. So that also is going to play a factor, because especially given the disappointing sound samples and the slowdown issue being worse than on the Amiga version. So I think I'm going to give the Sega MegaDrive / Genesis version of Lemmings 7 out of 10. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Catch you on another video soon. Texie88 out.